We want to talk about something that needs a bit of balancing in regards of, usually you send your car to do balancing in regards of the tires and the wheels, whether they're stable or not. Sometimes you do other types of balancing, but what we want is a proper balance in one's life, and that is the work-life balance.
Exactly. What does work-life balance even mean, and what does really it indicates? Does it mean really you have to have 50% work, 50% balance? For me, how I define work-life balance is when I work, I make sure that I also take the time to rest. I take time to re-energize or refill my cup. So if, let's say, I do a project and it takes me 1 whole month to do it, and I make sure the minute the project finishes, I don't take up any more work, at least 1 or 2 days of rest.
But there are some also out there who have different styles when they look at work-life balance, because sometimes they're so into their work that they normally enjoy themselves more while working and only have a short period of time resting and again recuperating or not. So where is the balance in that? Where do we strike that middle point? Hence why we have a very esteemed work-life balance coach together with us. She's a bit of a regular on the show. We have together with us DATIN, Dr. LEEZ HASSAN together. DATIN, thank you so much for coming back to us. Coming back to us. Again, we appreciate you. Again, of course, how are you doing? By the way?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
We haven't met each other so long. She came in, she was like, your hair's long. And I was like, my hair's long. I was like thinking, my hair's been long for quite a while. So it's been a while. Right?
Yeah, lucky she can't say anything about my hair though, because that would be irrelevant entirely. So, DATIN, so let's talk about this. I mean, personally, to you, before we dive deeper into this conversation, how do you define work-life balance to you personally? Is it more work? Is it more holidays? Is it how is it to you?
Okay, first and foremost, it's a topic that I've been advocating for a long time.
Sure.
Okay, so recently, I mean, as you guys know, that the issue of Malaysia being ranked lowest, 59 out of 60, we'll talk about that later. But in terms of definition, right, so one needs to define first what work-life balance means, right? So looking into that context or definition, you have to define what's work to you compared to what's non-work. Okay, work can be things like your job, okay, if you are employed, if you are self-employed, if you are seorang usahawan, entrepreneur. Even I consider housewife also working.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's related, because that's a task to the job that they are doing, right? So they need to do cleaning and whatnot. So that's work. So we look into non-work context. So what is non-work? Things like your passion, your self-fulfillment, your hobby, things that you do yang, that gives
you pleasure.
All right? Makes you happy. So, but in terms of the 50-50 definition of work and non-work, it's very, very difficult to define.
Sure.
Because every one of us have a different life. We have a different lifestyle. We have different passion. We have different needs. We have different challenges. So for me, when people come to me and ask, how do I define this boundary between 50% of work and 50% at home? No, we can't do that definition. So it's very difficult to do that. To that context.
Right.
Sure.
So really, I think, like you said, it depends on how you define what is work and what is non-work for you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So as long as you take, would it be, like I said, like for me, work-life balance is, I know, for example, I plan my work schedule for a whole week. So if I have to work 9 hours, I make sure I have 2 hours of rest to re-energize, recuperate, and just, like Mio said, kereta have to balance, right?
Yeah, it's correct. Because, of course, there's a lot of different definition coming up. It's the work-life integration. I mean, let me ask you, you think that you can integrate life and work? Is that something that we can do?
Oh, no, that's sacrifice.
You're making us think about this a bit.
Yes. So for me, let's just be very simple, the balance. Because as you say, right, you may be working like 10 hours, 12 hours. You're fine. That means that's something that you have to do for your job. But if you have to take few hours just to rest, that's fine. Maybe that's that particular week that you have to do long hours of working. But in the future, you may have more hours, a holiday, a vacation. So for me, let's just keep that work decision and non-work separately, because that would make us more productive in whatever we do.
That makes sense.
Rather than combining it.
Exactly,
Right.
but one thing's for sure, just to get your opinion on this as well, because a lot of people out there, when we talk about the work-life balance, there's the term actually doesn't exist, because to have a proper balance, you need to work to get that income, to get that money, to be able to actually get that bit of rest.
Malaysian celebrity that got so much heat on social media for actually mentioning this.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but maybe you can emphasize to us a bit. At the end of the day, yes, everybody's chasing for that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Everybody's trying to get that extra bit of cash in order for them to have that peace of mind. But how important it is ultimately, from your mental point of view, how important it is to have that balance.
Okay, for me, I mean, let's not look into it as something that we have to really strive, because we are not looking for perfectionists, right? A perfect life.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the circumstances and also where you are now. It means that if you are a single person, you may be working 24 hours because it's something that even you want to earn as much as you can because you have the energy and there's no much commitment right at that point of time. But once the lifestyle has changed, because you're married, so your responsibility comes in. So you need to maybe take 3 steps behind and okay, hey, now how do I balance this? So it all depends on the priorities at that time, the circumstances, your age also makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe if you're in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s are lepak already, so why should I be bothered to work? Because I already earned when I was younger.
Right.
But compared to someone that is maybe peak of their career at 40 years old, okay, for them, if I were to take time off, it's like wasting of my my opportunity. Maybe. If I have to work 1 year and no break, but I get a big break, why not? So for me, I mean, I do agree with that as well.
I actually want to bring up this quote by Priyanka Chopra so randomly, because I was coincidentally I was watching the video, and she was talking about how she took a whole year off because she had a baby, and up to this point she already worked as much as she could.
Correct.
And she mentioned something about privilege, which I think stuck to me so much, in terms of not everyone has the privilege to actually have a work-life balance. Because when we think about people who are below the B40 yard, they don't have the time, they don't have the luxury to take that break. And what advice do you have for them? What can they instead do, instead of oh, now I have to force myself to take a break? Instead, how can they still achieve this work-life balance without sacrificing too much of the work?
Okay, so that's why back to what the definition is, all right? Because we can't follow the dictionary definition. You need to have the balance between these hours, how many hours at home and work. So it all depends on the circumstances. For some people, it's a privilege. For some people, they don't even have to work, but money comes to them. Maybe they already made it, they have residual income and whatnot. But for some people, they have to work. Working people, especially professional, they need to work. For me, it's fine. I mean, I don't believe in, as you say, right? If you don't have a work-life balance, it's okay. Nobody is going to penalize you. I hope that I'm not making that statement wrongly, but that's your life. So that's your life. You decide what you think is best for you.
All right.
But as a human being, of course, we need to look into our well-being. This is where we're coming in, right? So our mental stress, emotional stress, physical, and all this. So that's something that what we want to achieve is to have a well-being being taken care of, right? Because we cannot be working until we drop.
Until the cow comes home, until you drop.
Until you drop, and I'm in the hospital.
And nothing else can be done.
Exactly. That's what the scary part is.
Okay, coming back to the discussion that you have actually even pointed out, even we have pointed out earlier in the show, Malaysia was actually ranked quite low in regards of its work-life balance. It was, right, as you mentioned, number 59th out of 60.
59 out of 60, I know.
Second was right.
Generally, how bad is that? I mean, is it something that we need to be concerned of in regards of the data and the published article that has mentioned Malaysia is not really a place where it has its proper work-life balance? You're looking at your notes. This must be something serious.
I'll bring up the 9 key factors, so maybe you can help me elaborate a little bit there. So the 9 key factors evaluated in producing the ranking were actually the number of statutory annual leave, minimum statutory statutory sick pay,
Okay.
so your EL, your emergency leave, the number of maternity leave days as well considered, the percentage of statutory maternity leave, minimum wage, healthcare, happiness index, average weekly working hours, and the last one I can't really mention on air.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I also like, first and foremost, when the article got viral, everybody was like concerned, right?
Okay.
As a Malaysian, we were like asking, first and foremost, we asked, we could be that bad. Right, because we are still have time to lepak.
Yeah.
At the
And we have so
Mama.
much holiday.
I know we have so much
we're one of the
holiday.
few countries who have that.
Exactly. So the question now is, who did the survey and who are the respondents first?
Yeah.
All right.
Who were they meant for? Yeah.
Yes, and who actually answered those survey?
Yeah.
And what kind of variables are they using? Okay, because they must be using some variables that may not be so applicable to us. We may have something else that helps us to achieve our work-life balance, right?
So you're saying this article is wrong then?
I'm not saying that, but because as a researcher, right? Because I'm also doing a topic on work-life balance. You know, I'm doing my master's in psychology. It's all about the variables that we are looking into context, right?
Sure.
So if they pick a variable that may not be so favorable to the respondent, it will be affecting the results, of course, affecting the results. So I'm not very sure, because I was also asked the same topic. So they need to know who answered the survey, and maybe it's someone that is already like, I don't know, achieve everything, or it's okay lah, I just answer whatever I can.
Okay.
But having said that, it is a concern, because first and foremost, generally we feel that we're quite stable, we're quite happy, we're quite balanced. You know, we have a lot of cuties, festivals, because we are multiracial.
Of course.
So we have Chinese New Year, we have Raya, we have Deepavali, and that coincides with school holidays. All right. So generally, we are okay. But looking into maternity leave, I think they have extended the maternity leave, looking into work pressure and all these. From the outside, you know, we look fine. But I think it's also a wake-up call, maybe for the higher authority, for the employees, for the government, you know, to come up with policies and maybe things that need to be looked into, you know, something that could actually boost the productivity of the workers in general.
That makes sense.
Perhaps.
I mean, I love the concept of working from home.
Yeah.
That's what I think one of the most grateful things, one of the things I loved after the pandemic is the fact that some employers allow their employees to actually work from home, which allows them to have the space to, like you said, you know, like to have they're working, but also not working in a stressful environment.
Yep.
I want to ask you, what are some of the examples of a work-life balance? Because we were talking about how you define, how you do this, how you do that, but for our audiences who maybe, like for me, I love working. So that's, to me, when I don't work, I don't feel balanced. But to our audiences at home,
generally.
I agree with you, because when I'm being asked to actually talk about this, I always tell them the work-life balance is all very individual. Okay, so we have to look into our own personal context, right? So for me, the methodology that I use be based on pillars of priorities. Okay, pillars of priorities. Because for everyone, we have our priorities at point of time. So we look into different pillars of elements of life, So we have to look life into totality. Okay, so first and foremost, we have our faith, all right? Then we have our family. Then we have our finance to look into. We have our fitness and our fulfillment.
Okay, I'm seeing a trend here. There's 5 Fs there.
5 F. Okay. In Malay, I use it 5K.
5K, okay. Translated, okay.
Translated. So you have to look into each of the we call it pillars and see how you are putting the balance into each pillars.
All right.
Okay.
Perhaps you have issues in your fitness, right? Wellness. So you need to look into it. So you need to maybe put more emphasis on that particular pillars and spend more time towards taking care of your well-being, right? Rather than work, and then one day you just, you know, actually we don't want anything to happen to you, but all of a sudden you get
stressed out, mental breakdown,
all the diseases will come in.
Hypertension, you know, and depression, anxiety, and all this.
Sure.
That's one example. Okay. Another example, perhaps your family, because you've been working. Nobody's
9 to 9.
9 to 9 and all this, you know, you kind of neglected your wife and your family and all this. And hey, your wife will ask me, you never bring me up, you keep working.
I like she uses me as an example there, but yeah, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine, we're good.
Yeah, so perhaps this is time for you to, okay, now let's negotiate.
Okay.
All right.
Understand.
So that's how perhaps I try to use this modality, in helping people to look into the work-life balance context and help you achieve work-life balance.
Because ultimately, as what you have just mentioned about this 5 pillars and which one you need to concentrate more, there is no cheat sheet, there's no single solution for everyone. It is all tailor-made specifically to each individual on how you need to concentrate or how you need to live your life, isn't it? Ultimately.
Exactly, you're right. Because when people come to me, I say, I can't share you my life. I cannot tell you, okay, you follow how I do things, because your life is different.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best. That's the best way. You look into your own context and rank it. Rank it, and say maybe for this year, as what you mentioned, right? You want to take the whole year off and travel to India, UK, whatever, why not?
Okay.
Provided your finance is being taken care of. But your finance is like still not there yet. Maybe not something that you want to consider, maybe next year or the year after next, you never know.
I think we want to start wrapping our, talking about work-life balance up. Do you have any other tips for our audiences at home on how to evaluate their life right now? The 5 pillars, again, let's repeat it back. When they evaluate all of this and everything is a bit off or whatnot, what should they do moving forward? Like, what's the next step for them? How should they say, okay, my wife has been complaining. I don't spend time enough with her.
Again, looking at me once again, but it's fine, it's okay.
So what's the next step for them?
For me, the best formula is everyone can control is their time, right? Okay, so they need to look at the time schedule. So I teach people how to audit their time, not manage their time. Audit.
I love that. I'm going to audit their time.
Audit their time. It means that look to 24 hours context. Okay, what you have been doing every day, every week, every month. So I'm sure there are certain things that may not be so relevant to you, or you can reprioritize, reschedule. Now, I'm not saying anything, Mio. Don't look at me like...
No, I'm just smiling at you. I'm just smiling at you that why am I being the... Okay, continue, please.
Right?
Please.
So when you do that, okay, I already audit my time. Hey, actually, I have extra time here.
Okay.
That I can do something, and maybe join a club that teaches me to dance, or even go to class ugama or whatever, I don't know. So that's the best way for one to look within themselves and check their time, because everyone can control their time.
Of course.
Although people say that I only 24 hours, but within the 24 hours, I'm sure you can spare few hours to do things that you want to do that we call non-work, right? I mean, I hope that makes sense,
Yeah, definitely. It makes perfect sense. And it is something that we need to train ourselves at the end of the day to really understand ourselves, to understand our requirements on how we want to prioritize each, one thing or another. We're almost running out of time, that thing, but I do want to give you another chance. You can speak to our camera over here. Maybe you can just, tell off people who don't have a work-life balance. Maybe, some advice for them. Finally, just a few words. DATIN, please.
Okay, to everyone out there, I think it's time for us to look into our life and see what's the best way for us to create a meaningful, fulfilling life for us. Because at the end of the day, only us can control our life. Nobody else should dictate how we should control our life.
All right.
I love that.
Lovely.
Thank you so much, DATIN, for coming back. Let's not wait for my hair to become longer. Then
for us to have you back on the show.
I know, he was like, oh, okay.
I was genuinely confused when she asked me that. I was like, when was my hair going short? But anyways, thank you again so much, ladies and gentlemen. Again, to those of you who are watching, if you're thinking right now, hey, I might not have a work-life balance, that is exactly your answer. Time to go ahead, put aside your work. If you can, again, if it's something that you're privileged to do, put aside your work, go take a holiday. Even if you just walk around your neighborhood pun jadilah.
Exactly.